Hello and welcome. It is the last day of the 8th grade Avian Symposium. And we're going to start off with a very exciting bird today by a very exciting person. The blue and gold macaw. Let's welcome Miss Rachel Higuera.
Okay, so the first topic is classification. The kingdom is Animalia, which is all living animals. The phylum is Chordata, which is vertebrate and animals living with an umbilical. And then class is Aves, which is all bird vertebrates. The order is Psittaciformes, which is all birds, including parrots, amazons, cockatoos, lorikeets, lories, macaws, and parakeets. The family is Psittacidae, which is African parrots and neotropical parrots. The genus is Era, which is Central and Southern America macaws. The species is Era ararana, which is dark colored macaws, and then the common name is the blue. The distribution, it'll live anywhere like in Panama and tropical South America, from Venezuela and Colombia, south to Brazil, Trinidad, Bolivia, and Paraguay. It nests by swamps and ponds. It's a very tropical bird. They love water. And it'll nest in canopy trees in the rainforest, so it'll make a nest in like a hole inside of the tree, and that's where it would live. And they also love the M. flexusa and they make nests out of the dead branches, which is this one right here that has the cool leaves. And they'll make nests out of the dead branches, or they'll just like nest inside of the tree. The conservation status, according to the IUCN Red List, it's listed of least concern, and although the numbers are slowly decreasing, they're nowhere near being endangered. Physical characteristics. The colors are like a blue, yellowish gold, white, brown, black, green, and red colors. And the color variations, why they are different colors, will be discussed later. The little feather patterns, like right here, are unique to the individual bird and can also be used to prove identification if a bird escapes or is stolen. You can see how each one is not exactly the same. They're all a little bit different, and so that will help there. And they also have black around their chin and their cheeks. And the naked skin of the cheeks turns pinkish white, like in this picture, sometimes when they get excited. The average length of the bird ranges from 33 to 36 inches, and that is including the tail. The wingspan is about 40 to 45 inches wide, and the clutch size is about 2 to 3 eggs. And the average weight ranges from 2 to 2.7 pounds. And their feet is not mentioned up here, but they have 2 toes in the front and 2 toes in the back, and that helps get a good grip on items like their eggs. The male-female differences. The males have like more coloring than the females. So this one is the male, this one's the female, because in the other picture you can see how the male has more like stripy colors on the back, and the female has a yellow stomach and a blue back. And that's the only visible difference. The reproductive characteristics. The mating system is basically when the males attract the females with their vibrant colors. That's where they have the brighter coloring. They are sexually immature anywhere from 2 to 4 years after birth, but it depends on the bird. And the female typically lays 2 to 4 eggs per year. Parental care. The babies leave the nest about 6 months after hatching, but they tend to visit their parents up to a year after leaving the nest, so they'll just kind of come back and see their parents and like get food and stuff if they need it. And both parents do provide care for the babies, and this is a baby in captivity, of course, at about 8 weeks old. Okay, longevity and mortality. They typically live for about 80 years in the wild, but they have been known to live up to 100 years in captivity. And there is no known difference in longevity between males and females. So they live about the same. Seasonal patterns. The behavior does not change during different times of the year, and they do not undergo hibernation, torpor, or migration, so they basically stay in Panama and South America the entire year. Because it's a very tropical climate. And diet. They eat like fruit and berries and nuts, vegetation. They also eat flowers and small insects, / bugs. And lots of foods are poisonous to them, such as chocolate, cherries, avocados, and caffeine. And they also eat clay, which scientists think might help neutralize the poisons in some foods. So if they eat like avocado and then they eat clay, it helps neutralize the poison, so the effect isn't as harmful. Predators. The biggest predators are human and machines when they're logging the rainforest, and that's why numbers are slowly decreasing because of the machines that are logging their rainforests and taking their homes. And the prey. The only known prey is insects and small bugs. And that is because they don't eat a whole lot of animals because they're a smaller bird and they don't take down bigger birds or bigger animals. Human relationships. They make great pets and thrive in safe captivity, and that somewhat helps the numbers increase. And these are pictures of my grandma's pet blue and gold macaw that I took. These two are when she's in the cage, and then these ones she got out of her cage. So. Fun fact, they can screech up to 105 decibels, which is very loud and annoying to listen to. Being a rainforest animal, they love to bathe and get wet. And the reason their cheeks turn pink is when they get excited, so they can kind of like blush. And they're one of the most photogenic birds. Because of their bright colors, a lot of people like to take pictures of them. And they live in flocks of up to 100, although that is a picture of a smaller flock. It shows how big the flocks can be. It's kind of cool. Is no excited? And any questions? Okay.
How old is your grandma's macaw?
She's about 20. Corbin.
What birds are related to it?
They're most closely related to Amazon parakeets and like parrots, most parrots.
What about the Derbian? Closely related to the Derbian?
Somewhat, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Can you go real quick to your map? I think it was like your third slide.
Distribution?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that map just a map of the countries, or is that actually a map of their, like, where they're known to, like, inhabit? Is that the range, or is that just a map of the countries?
It is where they're known to inhabit. But they usually stay like up in here.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes they go down to Argentina, but usually.
So is there like a key on there that shows that, or I mean, did you? I guess what I'm asking is, did you just get a map, and then that's where they're supposed to live, or is that actually a map that they said was just for macaws? That's
No, it's just a map because I looked at the map for where they lived and they didn't have
Gotcha.
it, so I got it.
And then my other question for you was actually kind of just a random one that I'm wondering. On bites, what is the bite pressure that those guys exert? Do you know?
I don't know.
And I'm asking this because I watched a video on Humboldt squids last week, and they were talking about how great a macaw's bite pressure is, and that. And I think there was another show I watched one time. They talked about the pressure of a macaw's bite.
I don't know for a scientific standpoint, but I know that I have been bitten by my grandma's macaw, and it is not happy times. It'll draw blood and hurt.
And then, what do you like? Do you think that the pet? You actually said the pet trade's increasing them, but it's kind of increasing them in captivity. Is it also like?
Yeah.
How does that affect them in the wild?
Well, most people don't get a macaw and then release it after they have it, just because they'd have to go down to South America and go through the process, and it would be hard for it to live in the wild after being lived in captivity. But just as a general standpoint, if they are slowly decreasing, the captivity will help with the birds, like the California condors, how they took them into captivity more, and then they released them, which sort of helps. But
if people didn't want them as pets, if little Timmy didn't want one as pets, do you think they'd have any problem in the wild? Do you think they'd be decreasing then?
Probably a little bit more than they are just from the logging, but not.
So you think logging's of greater impact than pet trade on them in the wild?
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions?
Are there any other predators other than humans?
Not that I saw when I was researching them. The biggest predator was the humans and machines.
No jaguars will take them?
Well, they probably would, but they live up in the trees, and
So pretty
jaguars
tough
can't.
catch.
Yeah.
Nice.